Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So I want to develop a premise, and in developing that premise, I kind of want to make a point, and I'm going to use somewhat of an allegory in order to make that point, using my own experiences. I often think allegories help explain larger phenomena, at the very least get the basic idea of it, and gives an explanation of why a person is doing X. I have made this, what do you want to call it, declaration argument, the solidarity of no, essentially saying I am done with the political system as the way that political system is, and unless a particular person is going to represent my interests, that person is not getting my support and not getting my vote. I've made the point that being complicit in a particular behavior persists that behavior. Meaning, voting for Hillary Clinton and supporting Hillary Clinton is only going to get you another Hillary Clinton coming next time around, since you've supported this particular Hillary Clinton. The incentive is not to change anything. The incentive is to persist things the way they are. Now, anything that has gone on for a period of time requires a lift to change it. The reason I say it requires a lift to change it is because otherwise it wouldn't have went that way for all that time. Like think of the civil rights movement. You wouldn't have had that white power structure in place if it wasn't advantageous for somebody to have that white power structure in place. Who on earth does things that are against their interests for long periods of time without a reason for doing those things that is against their interests? This is the kind of point that I'm getting at. Oftentimes, we find quick fix solutions because those quick fix solutions are the best thing that we can think of at the time. We can't necessarily think of anything else. And that allows that situation to persist itself. We have a dog. We have two dogs, actually. One of the dogs, Pitsu, we got that dog. It's a pit bull Shih Tzu mix. Thinks he's a full-on pit bull with these little baby legs. And we have another one, Bo. Pitsu has only known love. Pitsu, we got him when I think he was like 3-4 weeks old. He had 3 owners at that part. He had this habit of biting. Didn't know what he was doing. He was playful. But to him, he was just playing. At some point, he grew out of it. Bo, however, did not have an upbringing full of love and rainbows and ponies. We got Bo when he was in the pound. Bo apparently was in the pound for 3 months. And it seems as if he had a rough upbringing, let's say it that way. Meaning, it seems as if he was starved. And it seems like we thought he was abused. At the very least, we thought he was starved because of his behaviors. He had these behaviors of gorging himself. Like he would gorge himself to the point of making himself sick. Not necessarily have a limit on himself. He would just eat. Well, the thought was, well, if he was starved, dogs that were starved have a tendency to do this. And so we're put in this weird situation. We can't leave him with food and we can't leave him with water, because if we leave him with food and water, he's just going to drink and eat all of it. And I say food and water because even water. If you give him a gallon of water, he would sit there and drink the entire gallon of water. If you leave food open, he would go into the food bin and he would eat himself sick. And we're saying this out of experience because he has done this. We thought we would have to take him to the vet. He was sick. He was literally for days ill. And it was to the point of, oh my God, we're going to have to take him to the vet because he's not getting past this. He eventually did. I'm just making this point. So the quick fix solution to this was take away all the water, give him a certain amount of food, take away all the food. And doing this fixes the issue in the short term. Because understand, it prevents him from gorging himself on water. But what if you're thirsty during the day? And what does it do for his basic issue? That's not solving his issue. His issue is trust. Is this food going to be here tomorrow? Is this water going to be here tomorrow? And does taking it away fix that issue? It solves the issue of him killing himself, yes. Does it solve the issue, the key kernel issue of him having this issue of trust that I have to drink and eat all of this because otherwise I'm never going to get this again. This is never coming back. I may be starved again. I may be hungry again. I may be thirsty again. It is a pain in the ass to have to, I guess you could say, put a certain amount of water down. And there's another issue. Using the bathroom. He has a weak bladder. That's the other part. So what's the thing? What's the solution? It's the solution to continuously take away water from him, only giving him small increments of water. And what I realized was giving him small increments of water fixes the issue of him killing himself, but it also persists the issue of him believing I'm never going to get this again. There's never going to be water again. I'm going to go hungry again or thirsty again. I decided to leave his water down. Even if that means he has to continuously go to the bathroom. Even if that means me incrementally upping the amount of water that he has so he doesn't necessarily off himself, but at the same token, he knows that there will always be water there. Slowly, incrementally, painstakingly, day after day, to see if he would actually respond to change, meaning to see if he himself can change. Making the assumption that he can never change and that he's fixed in his behavior, I'm challenging that assumption. I wanted to see if there was a potential for change. It took maybe a couple of weeks, but what I've noticed is we can leave water around him. He doesn't gorge himself. Like taking the time to say, all right, we're going to incrementally raise the amount of water that you get to see if you can be broken out of this behavior. Meaning you drink all the water, put more water back down, providing it doesn't necessarily add to the point where you're off yourself. But essentially incrementally upping the amount of water that he gets over and over and over, day after day after day after day after day, until he gets to the point of realizing, oh my God, there's always water here. I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to go thirsty. There's always water here. He used to be so bad that he would drink the water out of the other dog's bowl, of Pitsu's bowl. Pitsu has never known hunger. Pitsu has never known thirst. So Pitsu has never had this thing in his head that, oh my God, the water's not going to be there. So he's okay with Bo just drinking his water. I just checked. Pitsu's water's still there. Bo's water's gone, but Pitsu's water's there. Meaning he left his water alone. He was getting to the point where, okay, this is his bowl, and I'm still going to get stuff in my bowl at some point. I'm not going to go thirsty. I'm making a point that, yes, it is somewhat of a pain in the ass to us to have to monitor it in this way. And yes, it's somewhat of a pain in the ass for us to have to pay attention to him this way to make sure he doesn't off himself and to incrementally raise his water and everything else as opposed to just leaving water down for both the dogs. But there's a difference between trying to get to the root of an issue versus trying to just persist the issue. Getting to the root of the issue is, what is the thing in his head that's causing him to do that? And how do I address the specific thing in his head? And I understand that it takes a while to fix that thing in his head because it took a while to create that thing in his head. But if you do it, you fix the issue itself. You deal with the individual itself, meaning in this case the dog itself and the psychology of the dog itself and the reasons that that psychology was created in the first place. There's always a lift. Martin Luther King walking across that bridge in Selma knew he was going to get hit. He didn't stay in the church and say, oh my God, I can't do that because we're going to get hit. He understood it. This is a lift. This is a heft. This society got this way over a period of time, and this is the lift that it takes to get this society over the hump from being this way. This power structure was put in place for this period of time, and this is the lift that's required to get this power structure out. That was the point. Cornel West recalls this thing where Martin Luther King is coming out of the jail. He said, this is what I must do for my people to be free. Talking about being beat and talking about having dogs sicked on him and threatened with dogs while these cops hand-tied him or had him tied up. Came out shaking and broken and yet resilient. This is what I must do for my people to be free. My political situation of no is not without consequence. The point I'm trying to make here is, yes, I understand there is a political heft, there's a political lift. I in no way want to see Republicans get in office. But fact is, if you really want substantive change to take place in your country, you have to start somewhere. And doing the same things that you've always done is not the place to start. That's my point. That's what I'm getting at. One or two things need to take place. The reason that we have this system the way it is because the system is profitable to somebody. And not just profitable to somebody. Blacks, Hispanics, labor. They're not voting this way because they necessarily want to vote this way. And this is kind of what I'm getting at. There's always a lift. There's always a hit. There's always a reason why people are doing things that are counterproductive to their aims. Usually it is a short-term thing that they're trying to get by. And I'm saying that short-term thing needs to be broken and that short-term thing needs to stop. You are the politically abused spouse or the political equivalent of an abused spouse. In the same way, you're fat, you're ugly, nobody would ever love you. You must stay here with me, and I understand I beat you, I understand I hit you, I understand I don't wash my hands, I understand I farted in the elevator and blame you, I understand I cut one in the covers while your head is under the covers. I'm a horrible fucking person. But you can't go anywhere because you have nowhere else to go. I'm saying Democrats, labor, blacks, Hispanics, you need to challenge that premise. I may not have anywhere else to go per se, but I'm not going to stay here with you. I am perfectly okay on my own. I am perfectly okay with being left to my own devices if that's how you're going to behave. Those members who are running, those lefties, 3 a.m, your God addresses you. What do you believe in? What do you stand for? If your answer to that question is, I believe people are a hell of a lot more than profits, and I believe that if there is even one person who is homeless, even one person that is poor, there should be no billionaires or millionaires in this country. If that's what you believe, if that's the thing that drives you, that gets you up in the morning when you go into the political apparatus, and if you believe that the Democratic Party cheated you in any way, if they were being unfair, even to 1%, then you need to run as an independent against them in the main race. Meaning Republican, Democrat, and you. Distinguish yourself as something fundamentally different. Even if you don't win, it's besides the point. Even if you don't think you can win, it is besides the point. It adds teeth to you, to the people that you represent. It adds teeth. When they look at you with that solemn face and say you have nowhere else to go, you say, yes, I do. I may not have another party to go to, but I find that I am fundamentally different than you, and I'm going to be standing right here for the people who wanted and supported me to vote for me. If that means you lose, then sucks for you. In the same way that those people are voting for me, in the same way that your Democrats voted for you, and in the same way the Republicans voted for the Republican, each one is fundamentally different. I am different from you in the same way that you are different from Republicans. It makes all the sense in the world for me to run as an independent because I am fundamentally different from you in the same way that you are different from Republicans. And when I tried to run with you, you cheated me. You cheated me multiple times. I was unwelcome. So I'm running as something different. And I'm going to give those people who wanted and supported me a chance to vote for me. I'm going to give those independents who are dissatisfied with the political process a chance to vote for me. I'm going to give those malcontent Democrats, those disaffected Republicans, the chance to vote for me. There's a chance that the Republicans can win because you are attacking them from the right. I'm saying that is the lift, that is the heft that we must take because we've allowed this system to prosper in the way that it's prospered for so long. Doesn't matter what it is. Just as a principle of things, the way reality is based. If something has prospered for a while, it will take a lift to undo it. That lift needs to start somewhere, and I'm saying that lift needs to start now. Lefties, wayward Democrats, Republicans that are disaffected with their party. Give those people an opportunity to vote for something fundamentally different. And for those people themselves, recognize that you're different. Recognize that you are not like them and get to the point of the solidarity of no and reject the system the way it is. Reject what they've given you to take. Reject it. Say no. I understand the political consequences in the sense of these guys taking office, but I'm saying there is a larger context and a larger political consequence of you being complicit in allowing things to prosper the way that they are. Status quo forever. Fact is, you had people voting for Obama with this idea of hope and change. And then you had this idea of those, still 30% of those people voting for Trump because they wanted something different. And they were so wanted something different that they were willing to go for a maniac to do it. I am saying those wayward Democrats, those wayward Republicans, those independents that are looking for something different, be something different. Stop voting for the system the way it is. Let that system implode on its own. If you get somebody out there that's fundamentally different that's in a third party, vote for that person. If you find a Democrat that you believe represents your interests, vote for that person. If you believe that there's a Republican for that matter, vote for that person. But only vote for the person who represents your interests and stop being conned. Stop being conned. I agree with you. There are consequences. But what are the larger consequences of inaction? And what are the larger consequences of maintaining the way things are? People were so upset. People were so moved that they were willing to go for a reality show host for their political exit. If you get the opportunity to vote for somebody that represents your interests, do it. Fuck the parties. Fuck the labels. If they're independent, if they're a green, if they're a Democratic Socialist of America, I don't care what they are. if you honestly, full well, completely believe that they represent your interests. None of the political stuff, none of the cultural stuff. Put that shit to the side. Do they represent my interests? What do they stand for? Flesh and bone. Are they for Medicare for all? Yes or no? Are they for college for all? Yes or no? Are they for some level of federal jobs guarantee? Are they for abortion? Are they for military intervention in one country after the next? What do they stand for in flesh to bone way? None of the hyperbolic language, none of that stuff. What do they stand for with regards to the policy as a flat fact? What do they want to put into the world? What do they want? None of the bogus rhetoric. What do they want? Real world terms. There's always a lift. We need to start that lift in this country. As the left, we've let things go far too long in the wrong direction, supporting a Democratic Party that realize that these guys are stuck with us, and so we can do whatever they want. I'm saying that model needs to be broken. We're not stuck with anybody. If you want change, you have to start somewhere. I will leave it at that. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the Patreon. Thanks, guys.